Okay, morning traders. Kind of just woke up early. I mean, not early, late. Still early for me in the morning on a Friday. Um, didn't know this chat room was going to be open because Jay Newby said he was going to be flying. But yeah, there's plenty of other traders running this chat. So I'm in NG. If you're on Discord app, you would have seen that I announced it. I'm going to try to announce it first on Discord since YouTube um, seems to have a little bit of lag, 20 seconds or more, according to Tesh. So my average is 868. But this is what I saw, guys. Right here. This is the daily, and you can draw a trend line here, right here, this wick, and this um, this open, and then I go to the 15s, and you see all these nice, pretty green candles, and it went up, and here's the fives. It's creating its very first. I wouldn't get in on the 5 minute trigger, meaning that past this green candle because it's so big. But you can see the trend line really well on the 15s right here. Right here, it kind of passed it up, so it was kind of tricky there. It would have spooked some people out. It still may not work. It's still going. So, well, it's working now. We'll see. Yeah, double dip. I think it is gonna go, but maybe down to here. So it's an $8 stock. That means technically if you have a day trader's platform, you have the 100,000 buying power. That means you can buy over 10,000 shares. Not telling you how many shares I have, but if you could buy 10,000 shares or more, and the stop is it's the range is small, so if you're using a stop loss chart, I think I just saw this morning that on the Discord app, and I'll put the link in the description. It's called Newbie Trading. Somebody shared a nice little double dipped it. He shared a nice little hold on one second. I need to keep an eye out on this. I'll show you right here. He shared a calculator right here. Gotta keep my eye on the level 2 here to see if it's going to continue on up. But yeah, something like this, I'll probably just put a stop right. I'll just put a stop at the highs, and if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. Right? It's winning the war, not the battle. So right here, it's really nice. I like it a lot. I just clicked on it earlier, and you just put in
Rare.
your numbers and you get it. Personally, I like to see a chart because that's just me. I don't want to type anything out, but if you really want to know exactly your risk reward, then this what he just shared is pretty awesome. Thanks. Whoa. Hey, Samir. Morning. Now take a look back, see what's going on. Another green candle. The next stop is up here, guys. Um, you can draw another nice trend line right here. Try to draw it. Where is it? Yeah, right about here. 881. How it touches those areas.
Rare.
Touches here, 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 and here. So it's no big deal.
Rare.
course, this is why
Rare.
if you get in early, if you're not trying to like do a trigger, like a 2 minute trigger or 1 minute trigger, that means that you're passing up the previous candle. Um, if you're just getting in on instinct, like I do, well, instinct based on the the level 2 movement. Um, that's the reason you never go all in unless you know you see all the stars align. Not planets, stars. I mean, it needs to be perfect. If it's perfect, maybe you want to put in a lot of shares, and then take out, take some out if it's not working, so you can save your ass. But yeah, I did notice that NG is Nova Gold. Uh, I don't. It's not exactly my type of stock. It just triggered on the trade ideas here around 10:22, so just went for it. So we'll see how gold runs. It bounces around pretty hard. This is not a perfect setup, obviously, but it looks nice. And I say it's not a perfect setup because it doesn't have the ramp. I'm always clicking back and forth, so hopefully I'm not getting y'all. Hopefully you're not like getting confused what I'm doing here. But every minute I want to go from daily to 15 to 5 to 1 minute, and then repeat, just so I can reassess my thoughts. I want to know if I'm psyching myself out, thinking that being stubborn, or does it still look good? And personally, it still looks good because in the 1 minute chart here, if it breaks down below here, it's going to be great. Or you can see a possible bull flag creating here, and then it's going to pop back up. But I'm prepared for it to pop up to 8.8, in which case I need to change my stop. So I'll probably pull out half here and half up here. But if you're looking at the level 2 right now, it looks like it's going down because it's heavier on the ask. So anything under 865 would be nice, and anything below that is
BIDU.
it's a little greedy, but you know. Level 2 still looks good. Oh, now it flipped around. This is playing games. Yeah, today's going to be, you know, it's going to be choppy when you look at the counter trend, or you look in the trade ideas, and TVIX is there. Okay. Okay, hold on 1 second, Samir. It's right at that breaking point right here, so I gotta kind of focus. You know, that is actually one of the reasons I did the chat room, because I had this notion in my mind that focusing too much is not good. So So I figured a long time ago when I created my own chat room that just being a little distracted by other people asking me questions would calm me down. But now I'm at the point where this is just it's all games. It doesn't stress me out much at all. I'm not playing in the big leagues anymore. I don't I don't put in huge shares, which goes to show that in my previous videos about the psychology of trading, you're more successful when you're not fully focused on success. Ironic, isn't it?
Win.
Now at this point, I'm thinking I need to change my stop now because it's taking a while and it's creating what I hoped it wouldn't. That that bull flag. I was you can see that triangle right there I can make. So this breaking point is starting to look a little sketchy. If it shoots down, then I'm going to take out most of everything, if not everything. But right now I'm going to change my stop. My stop was half here and half here, and I'm just going to put all my stops up here at the high, a little bit above the high, say like 879 or something. Let's just try it. Yeah, 879. Okay, because it's taking so long here. So you can see the volume increasing just a little bit. So now there's a little bit more rallying. People don't know what the hell they're doing right now. It's not, there's no conviction. So this is not in my favor. There's what I didn't want. But you see, these 15-minute green candles, it's just so suggestive. Is that a word? I was a math teacher, not an English teacher. But here's the 5-minute. It looks like this one, it still looks like it should go down. It's because one of those stocks just gotta sit on it, and the dog's in the way and I can't sit in my chair. Come on, boy. Good. Girl. Good, please. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Alright, so Samir, do you not find you need to be familiar with the stocks and how they behave as stock? Personally, smaller price stock can keep going in one direction, engaging the reversal can be hard. Yeah, small caps are tricky, but based on the volume, that's where I would determine if it's going to be a good stock to counter. I really don't have to do much thought into it because it's on my scanner, and the scanner already sets the parameters for the amount of volume, so I know that people are looking at it, and if people are looking at it, then algorithms won't overtake the traders and make it too boring, so to speak. I mean, if we're talking about counter trading, we want it to be not boring. We want it to just go the other way, right? So we don't want it to be too linear. We want something that actually moves. So yeah, that's a good, very good point, Samir. When we're talking about small price stocks, volatility can either be really high or really low. Yeah. What's going on, Okeem? Oh, thanks. What market or stock is that? James, what's going on, James? I don't know. I just woke up. I just saw it on the scanner. But I don't like the idea that that it said gold in it. But Nova Gold. You know, I'll tell you honestly, I'm probably the probably one of the least. Hold on one second. It's about to go. Let's see if it breaks through.
SMPL.
It's just creating this a really strong support line here, down here. I want it to go away. I want it to break through. The more the more it keeps hitting this, the harder it is to get through, and that's a kind of a bad thing, and it could be a really good thing, because when it breaks through, it needs to hammer through hard. What was I getting at? I'm probably the least knowledgeable. That's the word. I'm the least knowledgeable when it comes to like what kind of stocks I'm trading, because it's already set up in the trade ideas. It's been so long, but I can say I'm one of the more analytical. But I don't get analytical when I'm trading. It's very second nature. I just let it. I just let trade ideas do its thing. That's the beauty of it. I don't to reduce my over trading, instead of looking at high low tickers and going on like 5 different chat rooms. There it goes. It's going now. It took over 10,000. Ah, dude, stupid small caps. But
SMPL.
yeah, I just let the trade idea do its thing. So analytically, I know numbers pretty well, being a math teacher and statistics, so I can gauge these things. But when you ask me like how which market works what way, I'm pretty retarded in that area, honestly. A lot of my friends are a lot more knowledgeable and definitely better, more more capable of talking smarter. I guess the fact that I was a teacher makes me dumb things down. I break it down. I like to break things down as simple as possible. I'm not trying to make myself sound smart, so I never try to learn any of these fancy words or anything. All I know is shapes. So if I see a bull flag, or the way I drew the triangle, I know what's going on. I see it and I know what's going on, and you will too. The longer you exactly, James. Simply the date. Oh, the data, right? The data. All we're looking at is data here. It's not about wins or losses. Of course, you want to be green, but if it doesn't happen that way, um, based on your track record, it doesn't really matter if one trade doesn't go right, because statistically it's 90%. And this one looks like, right now it looks 50-50. Actually, it's against me right now. I'll say it's 60-40, that it's not going to go my way. And that really sucks. But let's take a look at it again. See, it's that one trend line that I created up here that, it's like jinxing myself. That 881 that I believe a lot of traders are seeing, that it could go up here. So why won't you let it go up there? That's basically human behavior. If you see something, why not go for it? So if you know that when a stock is at like at 791, she's pissed at me. At 791, you know that people want it to hit 8, right? It's kind of like that. So if people are like me, and they are, because these trend lines are trends for a reason. They're going to draw all these freaking lines, and then they're going to say, let's try touching this one. Let's try touching this one. And then it's,
BMRN.
whoever's more popular wins. And right now, I'm not very popular, obviously, because my thought suggestion isn't as ideal as everybody else's. That's this trading. I'm stuttering. It's Friday. But you see, in the 15-minute, it could be creating a bear flag. So it's not over till it's over. But the problem with picking a stock like this is the fact that you could be looking at something else. You hear the lady in Trade Ideas keep shouting out different other trades, and yet you're stuck in a small cap, kinda, unless you have some shares left in you, some money left in your account. But I highly suggest if you're watching this stream, then you're probably one of those that are, in the middle of things. You're trading possibly,
BMRN.
and you're just looking for other venues. The best thing is probably not to trade more than two trades at a time, unless I'm gonna be sexist here. Unless you're a woman and you can multitask really well. I was hoping this trade would have been done by now. Then I can close the stream, because I don't like my streams being over an hour long. That's just excessive. I'm just talking to myself. But yeah, I guess it's a good time to answer some questions that I had yesterday. One person asked me for the chart that I have. Well, just earlier I mentioned that if you go into the chat room right here, Double Dip shared a calculator for risk reward. So those of you, one of the biggest things is, other than finding the stock to trade, is to know how many shares you're going to use. Some people just throw in instinctively, and then they calculate incorrectly. It wasn't the greatest setup, and yet you're risking $200 or something like that. Or you're risking half. You're just risking a lot. So you can use something like that, and in the previous stream I posted something like this. I have a chart here that I just glance at, I'm not really good at simple math, so I need a chart, and I like to see the potential. So everything's right in front of me right there. So if you want something like that, I'll just get on the Discord chat room, and just private message me. I just found out that I can send out attachments, and I can send you an attachment for that chart. Here comes the breakout. I'm getting distracted here. Let me see what it looks like in 1 minute. It looks fine. I mean, it needs to pull back again before it pops back up. So right here is where I ask myself, do I want to go all, do I want to get out of it entirely at the very top, or do I want to reduce my shares and then average in when it gets to that 881, like right up here, because that's a very high possibility. And then that's when I would probably have to rethink what Samir said, that it may just continue. I don't I don't think it'll continue forever, obviously, but it may just stay up there, right? That's our worst. That's a counter trends nightmare, right? I mean, nobody wants to see one that flies straight up and just stays up there, like it defies gravity. If we're talking about a short, you may want to turn your volume down because the dogs hears the garbage man. Um, go into Braze, Amaze, what's going on? Go into Google, or you can check um, in my previous YouTube stream that I posted the link to newbie trading. Just look that up on Google, and then they'll have an right here, newbie trading. So if I go into Google and then type in newbie trading, it's right here, the homepage, and there's a button right here to join the chat room. And then I'm on there as well as some really good guys. Jeremy Newby's gone today. He's out there flying somewhere. And apparently you can't fly and trade because he's a man.
BMRN.
I'm sure there's probably a rule against that. It's about to break out. I shouldn't be smiling right now, but we'll see. I suspect it's going, if it breaks out from here without pullback, it's going to shoot up and it touch and it's going to come down. So you know what? I'm going to take out my stop because it's only 5 cents away and I don't have that many shares in it anyways. Also, this is not my Discord. This is Jeremy Newby's. He's the main guy. I'm just helping out. All right, good idea. Roland WRX. I should just post the link. But hold on one second. I'm kind of busy with this crappy trade right here. I should keep. I figured, Samir, you could trade using your phone. He has no excuse. He's just being lazy. He doesn't need Wi-Fi. He could just use his data plan. I'm obviously joking. I use both Getsy. What's going on, man? Right now I just took out my hard stop only because you see this red line up here at 881 due to what I see on the 15-minute. I see another trend line right here, and it's only 5 cents away from me. And 5 cents right now for me is it's just a loss of around $70 or $80. So it's no big deal. If the next trend line was ridiculously far and I had a lot of shares, then I would probably do a hard stop. But in this case, I'm just doing a mental stop at the moment based on what's going on right now. Because you see that right there? It's just staying up there. So you can, I've seen a lot of these movements where it will just kind of just curl down, in which I may break even or make a little bit, or if it went, let's just for instance, if it went up, hopefully you can see my tiny arrow. But if it goes up and then it touches, or if it goes up this up to here and then it resets itself for continuation, then I'd be really worried. But just because it's staying right there suggests that it doesn't have much more umph to push up to go down. And you see that little volume, extra volume there for the for this tiny speck of a candle. So I'm still okay. I think we'll see.
TSN.
So this is where TSN again. This is where when people ask how do you learn to trade, you can hear a lot of my suggestions or my thoughts based on just previous analysis of charts. If you keep looking at movement every single day, and you'll be pretty interested to see these strange patterns. And then I think the best way for the way I do it is I think, what are other people thinking? Why did it go that way? And you see it on in the 5-minute chart right here. It went up, it's touching the area, and it's going up like that. The chances of it continuing on up is not as good as it wanting to come back down before it goes back up. Because see how it went up a little bit? I don't foresee it having that much power to continue on. I'm not worried that it's going to fly so high
TSN.
that I'm going to lose so much money. And yeah, because it can't just go straight to 881, and if it does, it'll go down. Statistically speaking, based on experience. Samir, how do you mentally accept getting stopped out and then seeing the trade go in your favor? How do you mentally accept getting stopped out? Or if you have a re-enter a trade multiple times and then get stopped out each time, then you have to make back more. How do you mentally? That's a loaded question. That's a good question. Long time ago, I would talk about something called Plan B, and I guess it's kind of like an abortion, and it's aborting the trade. But my Plan B is just Plan B, and it's depending on how much conviction you have, based on how many stars are aligned, how many parameters are actually met. There it goes. See, it went up a little bit, and now it's tanking. We'll just see how much it tanks. Um, Hopefully, it goes down to 868, and then I pretty much break even. From there, I can decide to just walk away, or I can be bullheaded and let it go down further. But I'll assess it when it gets there. But how do you mentally accept getting stopped out? How do I mentally get? I don't know how I mentally accept getting stopped out. I just mentally, I'm saying to myself, I'll tell you right now, if I get stopped out up here, then I pretty much, hold on one second, let me use a calculator. If I get stopped out right there, because my average is right here, and I get stopped out up there, that's 7 cents. So I'm gonna lose, yeah, just shy of $100. Um,
TSN.
Mentally, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by how I accept it. If you're talking about emotionally, I'm not phased at all, um, because it will take a lot more for me to even be close to red for this week. But that's how I see Fridays. Monday through Fridays, I have different mental acceptance, so to speak. If I'm having a horrible day, I'm not trading on Friday. I mean, if I'm having a horrible week. But if my week is looking awesome, um, Fridays are just almost like a game to me. Um, but I see what you're getting at. This is a really tough question, and I tried avoiding these kind of I tried avoiding talking about Plan B, because Plan B means staying in something like a falling knife and watching it tank go down, 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 and then you're running out of shares to double up, and then you have to take out half or three quarters and add when you get to the next trend line. You have to assess how far these trend lines are, and that's why I have a chart, because I have to keep glancing at where my stops are. Is my stop 40 cents away? Is my stop 70 cents away? And it works the same thing as a risk reward. So it's really hard to explain, but maybe someday I'll know how to explain it better. But based on this chart, depending on how far the trend line is, it's trend line is 50 cents away, and you know you're going to need 200 shares, um, to average in, and then possibly get closer to where you could actually break even. And that's basically how Plan B works. Or you could do a complete, um, or you can do a hard stop. There, personally, there's not much between the two, except one is put in and one isn't. And that's another thing. That's another issue right there. If you put a hard stop, people actually can see it, right? So personally, I almost get superstitious. I don't even think it's superstition. Mental stops are better if you're fast, if you know you're fast enough, right? Because if you put a hard stop in, it's actually visual to some traders out there. Oh, so you are calculating how much risk each support. Yes, I am. I am generalizing, because obviously, when things are going really fast, except for this trade, of course, if things are going really fast, I I generalize how much I'm risking. Um, so I am kind of calculating, yeah, and then I decide if I want to stay in or not. But if I'm using my light speed, which is 100%, then I'm almost always using a mental stop, unless I'm doing a crappy trade like this, and I'll put a hard stop, because you know, time really plays games. It plays games with your mind. I'm glad I'm helpful, Samir. I really don't know if I'm making any sense. I just I'm just trying to keep this stream away from there it goes. It's going down a bit. Away from just, you know, no talking and just boredom. Okay, so right now I don't want it to go down too fast, ironically, because if it goes down too fast, then it'll bounce right back up. So I just want it to trickle and just trickle on down. Breeze Maze, am I saying it right? Breeze Maze? Um, you always risk the same amount for each trade? No, I don't. Um, I have been known to risk $1,000 at times, depending on how my week is. So let's just say on Thursdays. Thursdays are probably statistically the days I use the most shares. If I'm having green days Monday through Wednesday, Friday I'm going to risk a lot higher, because I don't want to say it's gambling, but because it looks better. Wednesdays are hump days, Mondays are tough. Mondays are probably when I make the most money, and then that pretty much flows over towards the Thursdays. Yeah. So, like I said, it really depends on how the stock looks. So let me. I always love sharing these pictures. You're probably going to get bored of it if you're watching my other videos, but I always there it goes. Um, I always want to see the perfect the perfect short or the perfect, you know, long when it comes to these counter trends. These I go really heavy in because these are the perfect storms, right? You have the exponential ramp of the volume and the and the movement here. It's exponential. It curves up. And then you just grab the top. You keep grabbing the top. You may have grabbed it here, and then you're going to add up here, and then it just tanks. And that's where that's where you put a lot of shares in. But if it's like this and there's no like this stock right here, there isn't any exponential movement. There isn't really much of a exponential volume here. If you look at the 15, you it just goes straight up. So what I'm looking for is something that goes straight up and curves down, and I just never learned my lesson because I know the the possibilities of it going down is still pretty high. It's just not the perfect storm. So if it were a perfect setup, then I'll go pretty heavy. So yeah, the amount of shares are always different, but I focus more on how much I'm going to possibly lose than how much I'm going to make. But I do have these two charts based on that. This one says max. So if you have 100, you definitely have a minimum of 100,000 if you have a platform in the US, because you know 25,000 with four times the buying power is 100,000. So if the stock was say $30, the max amount of shares is 3,333, right? So that's I mean if all the stars are aligned, this number is in my head. But of course I'm not going to use it. I'm going to look at how much I'm going to be risking. So I'll probably have a stop of up to $400 at that point. I'll just double these numbers over here and just say and just figure out where I'm going to enter. But of course, if it's moving really fast and say the stop is at 50 cents away or more, a lot of times it's at $1 if it's a really expensive stock, right? Then you you don't have that many shares to put in. So that's why I like to use this chart, because it's all in front of me. It's just just I and just look away. This dog is so annoying. But so now there's another support line, right? Or is it the same support line? No, it's a new one, and it's higher even. It's up here. If that makes sense. You can actually just see it. Um, I remember when I first started trading, drawing lines was just a lot of fun to me because it just amazes me how these lines just show up. I mean, you can foresee that this was a possible support back here, and that's when when my my friends tell me that that all these trend lines are just a fluke. It's not. And it's not. That's why this isn't gambling. You have to be able to see the trend lines because there is humans behind these actions. I don't know about now though, because the volume is pretty low. We're just gonna see it. We trace, and that's what algorithms do as well. So I'm not really worried. Actually, I should be worried now because it's going green, red, green, and it's coming down. So whenever chance I get, I'm just gonna exit whenever it gets too low because I'm talking too much. Now it has a really good chance of breaking the highs. So a hard stop would be okay. It definitely would be okay to put in, but I don't want to put it in because I already jinxed myself saying that people can actually see my hard stops. What's going on, CB? What type of risk reward do you aim to make on you? Well, if I'm only focusing on counter trends, then I know statistically, Jeremy newbies and my actions are roughly 90%. So my risk reward is um, it's pretty bad. Um, I know if you're a gap trader, then your rewards are really high and your risk is pretty high. So you have like a 1-1 or even better. You may risk a little and then you'll make a lot. But the chances statistically of you winning is rather low. It's not 90 percentile like a counter trend. But because counter trends are more, in my opinion, it's not opinion anymore. It's almost a fact. Counter trends are easier, um, but your rewards are much less because you could be just doing that scalp. That counter trend may end up being a scalp. So your rewards are smaller, possibly. Sometimes they're great, but you'll get out too soon. But that's the same thing with um, a continuation. Everyone gets out too early in the beginning, but your risks are pretty high. Like I just mentioned earlier about using Plan B or not, or doubling up just to have a better average. That could create a higher risk. So so and so the risk reward ratio is bad, is poor when it comes to counter trends. But statistically, you're going to be green 90% of the time. So almost, I would say, it almost makes up for that. Hopefully that makes sense. But guys, this is just taking way too long. So I'm just gonna watch it go against me here when it goes past that 876 is the next trend line. You can see it right here pretty much. It's between 876 and yeah, 876. It hit it twice. So either it touches it and comes down, or and then I'll get out when it gets down to my average, or it's just gonna hit that 881, and then I could just add, but I have other things to do today, and this is taking forever. So I'm just gonna stop it here, and then if you're still watching NG and it hits 881 and I'm still around, I'll just jump back on the stream. Um, so this may be a two-part. But if you see it go down to 868 or it spikes past 868, then it's it's pretty certain that I just got out there. I'm not going to expect it to go all the way down here or anything. At least I don't think. Let me see. 865. Yeah, 865 is just, it's ideal because right now, even with the 9-minute moving average is at 863, and in maybe another 15 minutes is going to get higher and higher. So, but do you see, like, you can tell, like, on the 15-minute chart that it's just basically losing its movement. But I don't want to be here just like rambling. I don't like talking this much in the morning. But yeah, I'll try to get back on if it hits 881. Then I'll tell you if I'm still in or not. But most likely, I don't know if I'm making 2 streams in one day. It seems redundant. If you haven't already, just get on the Discord. It's easier for me to type it out. But I was hoping to explain why it actually went well, and right now I guess it's also good to explain why it's not going well, but it's just taking way too long, especially with the amount of volume down here now. But let me just answer a few more questions. CB has had to make up for it to be profitable in the end. Thanks for a long and detailed answer. It is long. I know I'm long-winded sometimes. It sucks. I can definitely see that you've been a teacher before. Oh yeah, yeah. I love teaching, but I don't like hearing the sound of my own voice. So I wish I was more. The best part of teaching is learning how to explain things better. So I hope, hopefully in the future, I can be able to answer these questions a lot quicker and concise. How important do you find Trade Ideas Scanner? How important do I find Trade Ideas Scanner? That's a good question. I think it's the most important thing there is. With it, before I started the stream again, I actually bought Trade Ideas all over again. I resubscribed because I can't just use the high-low tickers that these other platforms have. Without Trade Ideas, I would be over trading, and I probably won't find anything good unless I'm in a chat room and I'm relying on other people to tell me what's good out there, and that never amounts to anything good because everybody has a different strategy, right? So if you're interested in the way I trade and Jeremy Newby trades and the rest of them in the Discord, then you probably want this scanner. And if you get on Discord, I think I figure out a way to send it over using Discord, and it's a lot quicker. I'll just give you I think it's called LTI, um, the not software, but the data. Okay, Samir, if you enter a trade with a few shares just to test and then trade goes in your favor, how would you decide to add if you were initially intending to go for a scalp? Oh no, well, I never go for a scalp. It just ends up being a scalp if it just doesn't go right. Um, yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to get in something for a scalp. And I've been accused of that in the past in my videos. Um, it just ends up looking like a scalp if they fake me out, and uh, and that's just how it is. It's the same way as doing a gap trade. When it goes up, a lot of times you end up losing all your profits because it comes back down before it goes back up again. It's just retracement, right? So if you get tricked into getting out early, it just looks like a scalp when it comes to a counter trend. But adding would not make sense as reward. Yeah, we're always looking for very good points, Mir. So in the daily here, um, if you disregard these red lines, this green candle could go up to here, up to 9, or it can go up to 884. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not looking for a scalp. Well, actually I want it to go down, right? So it can go down to here. Would be an ideal place. 856 before it went that high, of course. So right now I'm still talking and it's about to hit 881. But you see what I'm getting at, right, Samir? I'm not looking for a tiny scalp. I'm not looking for 5 cents. I'm looking for in this range. It's not much. So you actually have to have quite a few shares. But it's Friday, so I'm not really looking for something extreme. I just want to stay green for this week. I really hope it touches. Let me see if 79 is a good number for it to stop. No, it has to be 881. So yeah, I think hopefully that answers your question. I'm looking for a big chunk of movement before it hits another support resistance on the daily, um, and I'll just try to draw a trend line to see where could it go. And of course, if I want to tunnel in, I would use the 15-minute chart to see where the previous 15-minute is. There's also the possible. Let me show you right here. So the previous 15-minute right now was 868, which is basically my average. That would suck, right? But it's fine. Or I would use the VWAP. VWAP is always really good when it comes to something that's really slow. In fact, this is probably VWAP is probably what I would do. Right now, I have the monthly package. Oh, there's the AI version and then there's the basic. I honestly only use the basic. I think that AI is really catered towards like swing trading. So I don't really need that one. But I'm but if you ask anybody on Discord, I'm pretty sure some people have the AI. When it first came out, it was free for people to try, and I tried it, and I'm just too old school. I've been using my parameters for so long, and I'm almost counter trend biased. I know I look extremely counter trend biased on YouTube only because everyone thinks it doesn't work. So I just kind of feel like, well, that's my niche. You know, that's that's what people want to see. They want to see me fail, but it's not going to happen. So I just end up doing it on YouTube on YouTube. But if I was trading personally, I'm everywhere. I'm either mainly I do continuations because surges usually happen during the mornings, and I miss it. I wait for another move. So I don't know if AI helps in that area. Also, I'm also paying monthly, but I'm using my own discount, so I still get that 15% off. But yeah, if you don't have trade ideas, I suggest you just take a look at mine and see if it works out for you. Now, this is where it probably want to touch 81. Come on, just touch 81. and then here it is. Did it hit 82? No, 81. Yeah, so I would, Samir says they're standard and premium. I'm assuming premium has the AI, artificial intelligence. Trade Ideas will offer a week of full version for under $10. That's cool. Okay, well that explains it. Thanks, Turf. Yeah, it didn't work for me, but I'm a little bit different. You see, you see this amount of volume? This amount of volume is important. It took this amount of volume to punch and touch the 882. That is good to know. So you could try it out, and then Samir, get on Discord. I'll send you my scanners if you don't have any scanners just yet, and then try it out, and go from there. But I'll have a link to my affiliates 15% off. And I'm not here to make money. And just to prove a point, if you get on Discord or on my Facebook, just ask for that 15%. Show me that you use my discount, and I'll give you your 15% to you. Well, give me a little bit. I'll give you 13%. Just give me that. Give me 2%. All right, so it hit 881. So either it's, let me see if there's any reason for it to go any higher. No, there isn't. See on the daily here, it met its quota right here. It could go a little bit higher if it wanted to be greedy, but I mean, the next stop is up here in 9. So you're not going to put a stop up there because that's just ridiculous, right? Oh, thanks, Amir. Nah, yeah, 2%. That sounds fine with me. I'm not greedy. Uh, yeah, it's not going to hit 9 up here in the nines, 9, 10. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stop here. I'm still in it, by the way. I want to see what it's going to look like a little bit later. I like how it's looking actually. Do you see right here in the 15s? Now it's not in the 15s. It's doing this curve up like this. And that's where technically it starts trickling down. So, but that takes forever. If you ever seen my previous videos, some of them, there's always that one stock that I have to fast forward 15 times by, speed, just so there's 5 minutes of it just trickling, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna leave it, and I'll put a stop just a little bit above, say like, I don't know, 887, just in case there's a little spike to stop people out. That's the thing about hard stops. If I ever do a hard stop, it's going to be a little bit farther away. But of course, it's probably not going to get executed. It's going to go down, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to escape that hard stop, eliminate that hard stop, and then get out manually. But I don't like sitting here forever just looking at something. It's like watching paint dry. Oh, I'm not adding anything. I'm just gonna let it go. This may be a small loss for me. Um, Average being what was it? My average is 869, so I'm just gonna let it go. Unless it actually shows a linear movement downwards, I may add a little bit. It's just, this one is just being stupid. Alright, guys. This is a crappy way of ending a Friday, but it's just a small loss for me, so it's no big deal. I hope I was able to help some of you guys out and you didn't follow me to on this crappy trade. But I probably should tell you guys where I'm at. I think I did though, in terms of um, how much conviction I had in this stock. But I should be probably more give you more clarity. Like if I say this is perfect, then I'm not suggesting anything. I'm only educational purposes only. It's going to 884. Okay, hold on. Let me just put my heart stop in. Yeah. Hey, you too, Smear. Hey, you guys take care, and hopefully next Friday will be green. But you know, overall, it's always about the war, not the battle. So always stay positive. Unless you're red, then don't be positive. Look in the mirror and fix yourself. Take care.